This morning, as we get started, I'm going to ask you to take a deep breath. Just take a deep breath. This topic is a tough topic that we're going to address this morning. You're going to hear me say that probably over and over again. Because if you're watching this video this morning, you may feel lost in your life. You may feel lost, unhappy, unfulfilled in your career. Those two things go hand in hand, believe it or not. And most people never find fulfillment. Most people never find fulfillment because they don't know how to start looking for it. So this video today, I'm going to be very circumspect. I'm going to choose my words very carefully because I want to make sure that I not only identify the pain you're going through, but help you start with the solution. So we're going to talk about how do you start to find fulfillment and happiness, but also what keeps you from actually finding it. But I want to acknowledge, I see folks are joining me this morning. I do want to acknowledge your pain and your struggle. I've had several of you have come to me and wanting to talk about what's next in your life because you're unhappy and you're unfulfilled. I spent hours with somebody last week who's going through the same dilemma. What's next? Because they know this is not it where they are right now. So I want to actually give voice as we start this morning to that pain and that struggle because it's real. And here are some of the questions I get from you as you watch these videos, but as you struggle to find that happiness and that fulfillment. One of the things you've said to me, what if I don't feel fulfilled? I'm not happy, but I'm scared. I'm scared to make a change. Some of you have reached out and said, I'm trying to figure out what's next for me. I know what I'm doing right now is not what I'm meant to be doing. I feel like I'm supposed to be doing so much more with my life. Others of you have said, look, I'm not happy and I'm not fulfilled, but it's hard to try to find fulfillment when you're just trying to pay the bills, when you're just trying to find a job to make ends meet. Someone else said, what if my passion is just not realistic right now? What if I need to put that on hold? Others have said, am I the only one who doesn't know what to do with my life? I feel like I'm in the middle of my career and I don't know what to do with the rest of my life. I feel like I've given so much to my career and my job, yet I'm still not happy. Why am I not happy? I put those questions on the screen. I read those to you. I put those statements because I want you to understand that's the language you're using with me. For those of you who feel stuck, who feel lost, who feel unfulfilled, who are not happy in your career and your life, those are your words. Those are your exact words. And so I want to be mindful this morning that as we get to the what's next for you and how do you answer that question or those questions of finding fulfillment and finding happiness, that one, if you're watching this video, then you've taken the first step. You've acknowledged the pain. You've acknowledged that you need help figuring out what's next. You need help getting out of the unhappiness and the lack of fulfillment that you're feeling right now. But here's what I need you to believe before we jump into this conversation. I need you to believe that I believe in you, but that's not the issue. The issue is I have to help you believe in yourself. And that is one of the biggest hurdles we're going to get to. And I'm also going to give you a couple of pro tips to get you started as well. And yes, I see comments are coming in. I'm going to get to those. Thank you for being here. I see, and look, I'm live this morning on all channels because this topic is just that important. It's just that important. So I'm going to get to your questions in a minute. For those of you who are new, and I do see I have some new folks joining me, if you're thinking, who is this person on your screen this morning? I'm in the business of changing careers and transforming lives. That's what I do. I spent the weekend actually reading through client testimonials, and that's what they've told me. From 6 months ago until now, they have a completely different outlook on their life. They feel like a changed person. That's why when you come to me with these questions of unfulfillment, lack of fulfillment, and unhappiness, that you're not happy, I get it because I'm working with people just like you right now. So let's jump in. Let's talk about how you start to find that fulfillment and happiness that you're lacking right now. Grab a pen and paper. You're going to want to write this down. I'm going to tell you this is not your typical video. I looked at all the other videos from other coaches who address this topic, and I'm going to tell you in just a moment what I think they get wrong. I think they get a fundamental premise wrong, and you may say, wow, that's a bold statement to make. It is. And I can make that statement because I've worked with enough of you now where I know there's one fundamental piece missing in all the other coaches, what they're telling you to do versus what I'm going to tell you to do this morning. And I'll get there in just a moment. But first, what I want to do, I want you to screen capture this or I want you to write it down. So often, the first place you start is the what. What do I want to do to be fulfilled? What do I want to do to be happy? You immediately go to the what because the what feels tangible. And then you want to get to the how. Well, how do I get it? I've got the what. Now, how do I get there? But those are not the first two steps. The first two steps are who and why. Now, that's very counterintuitive because most people, again, will tell you, other coaches will tell you, you're going to find fulfillment. You're going to find fulfillment if you figure out who you want to serve. You want to serve others. Serving others gives you fulfillment. Here's why I disagree with that statement. You can't serve others until you serve yourself. You can't save others until you save yourself. That's why to find happiness and true fulfillment in your life, you have to start with the who. The who is you. Because right now you feel like you've made bad choices that's brought you to this point. You feel like you've done something wrong, and that's why you're not fulfilled or unhappy. You made the wrong choices, and it's brought you to the point that's different than where you thought you'd be. I'm not going to tell you your choices were wrong. I'm not going to tell you that you didn't make the right moves at the right time. What I'm going to tell you is it's easy to go to the what makes you happy and the what is going to fulfill you. But if you don't start with the who of yourself, you'll never answer the what. You're never going to be fulfilled and you're never going to be happy until you look at yourself. And you have to start with the who. Who are you? Who do you want to be? That's the inspiration piece. The inspiration piece is inside of here, guys. It's right here. Because I don't know what's going on around you, outside of you, in your career, in your home life. That's irrelevant to me. And that's, quite frankly, a line I don't usually cross with my clients. What I can tell you is the who you are. If you don't start with the introspection and self-reflection of the unhappiness, the source of the unhappiness, the source of the lack of fulfillment, that's you. And that's inside of you. Now, I'm going to be careful with this next statement because like I said, I want to be very circumspect with my words this morning. But if you don't know the who, you don't know your why. Why are you unfulfilled? Why are you not happy? Why do you feel lost in your career and your life? Why? Why? So if you need to screenshot this again, please do so. Because the what and the how may be easy. The what and the how may be easy. The who and the why are where you have to start. You got to do the hard work. And look, I said a minute ago, I'm going to tell you why people never find fulfillment. You don't know how to start looking for it. What I just gave you. The first two steps to start looking for it are the who, which is you. You have to start here. and it's your why. Put the what and the how aside and start with you, introspection, self reflection, and your why. You have to answer the who and the why before you get to the what and the how. Look, I can help you with the how. That's the how is what I do. The what I can help you answer. But those two things are irrelevant and you're still going to be unhappy and you're still not going to be fulfilled if you don't answer the who and the why. Now, why do why do why do so many of you fail? Why do you stay unhappy and unfulfilled? Because you don't want to do the work. I had someone who came to me earlier this year asking, I should say, the same questions I put on the screen. As we really worked through trying to answer those, didn't want to do the work. Guys, I can't do the work for you. Man, I will walk alongside you. I will be your sounding board. I'll help you through it, but I can't do the hard work for you. I can't answer those questions. All of us on this call this morning have answered those questions at some point, but now you have to answer them for yourself. So, why do people not find fulfillment and happiness? Because you don't want to do the work. You don't want to do the self reflection and the introspection and take the time with your pencil and paper and sit down and figure it out. You don't want to do that. You want to say, what steps can I take right now? The immediate. Let's get started. What can I do right now? And you want to rush the outcome. And I, with all my might, try to pull you back and say, slow down. Slow down because you jump right into the what and the how, and you miss the fundamental premise of the source of the unhappiness. So if you don't want to do the work, you got to know you're going to stay unhappy. I know that is like harsh, a harsh message for this morning, but you have to do the hard work of answering those two questions. Now, here's a pro tip. And I'm going to be very careful the way I say this as well. You know the pain you're feeling. You know the struggle you're having. Pro tip, visualize what it's like when you're on the other side of that fear and that pain. The fear is what's holding you back. It's why you don't want to do the work because you're scared to discover what's on the other side of that who question. You're scared to discover what's on the other side of the why question. And I get that fear. And you guys know I always say the fear acronym is face everything and run or face everything and rise. You have a choice. So the pro tip this morning I want you to do is visualize what it's like when you found that happiness. What's the feeling like when you're now fulfilled? Are you visualizing it? Can you see it? Can you feel it? Do you understand it? Because that's where you're trying to get to. When you can visualize what inspires you, when you can visualize and feel that happiness and know that's your true north you're trying to get to, that visualization, that feeling is what's going to get you over the limiting beliefs. It's going to get you over the fear that's currently holding you back. Because let's be honest, you're watching this video this morning because you haven't taken action yet. Like I said, you don't know how. I just gave you the two questions you have to answer, the who and the why, before you get to the what and the how. But to get over that hump of the fear that's holding you back, and look, I get it. You failed at some point in your life. That's why you're not willing to try. Like I said, you're scared to face what's on the other side of those questions. But when you visualize, when you can almost taste what's on the other side of unfulfillment, unhappiness, when you get to that point where you know you are inspired to do what you were meant to do, when you're doing it, there's no better feeling in this world. I've been there. I've told you guys I've been there. My clients have been there. I see the aha moments and light bulb moments go off with them. I see it in myself. You guys know I've told you. When I lost my job, my confidence was shaken. And I'm a fairly confident, pretty strong ego kind of person. You know, I get that from my father. I was shaken. I'd never been through anything like that. I lost my way there for a little bit on my who and my why. But now I know that painful moment was not what I was meant to do. What I'm doing right now in changing careers and changing lives, that's my highest calling. That is my inspiration. Because I wake up every morning as happy as I can be to get started. As my friend Chris Prouty knows, who's here, I can't sleep sometimes at night because I'm so excited and so inspired to serve you and help you change your life and your career. So, what is your highest inspiration this morning, folks? That's what you're visualizing. That's what's going to get you over the limiting belief of fear. Who are you serving? You're serving yourself before you serve others. And I want to remind you of the mindset formula that I give you on all of these calls. Self belief controls thoughts, thoughts control feelings, feelings control actions. Why do I start with self beliefs? Because it starts with you. The solution you seek is actually seeking you because it starts with you. That's almost as bad as plain as I can make it this morning. And I see comments are coming in. I'm going to get there in just a moment. So, I started off this video saying most people never find fulfillment because they don't know where to start. You now know where to start. Grab a pen and paper. I'm an iPad person. You guys know my iPad goes everywhere with me. I'm an iPad person. Grab your pen, your paper, your iPad. Put a column. Who, why, what, how. And just start writing. Just start writing. Now, if that who, answering the question of who you are, is daunting to you, let me know. Most of you reach out to me on LinkedIn. That's totally cool. Let me know. That's the part that's the hardest. I'll be honest with you. I spend weeks, like I said, I spent hours with somebody last week. That's the hard part. The question is, the solution is there. The question is solvable. It's answerable. But you got to roll up your sleeves and be willing to do the work. So what's holding you back right now? You're scared to find that answer. It's easier to complain about being unhappy and unfulfilled than to reach out and say, hey, you know what? I want to get past this point in my life. I don't like where I am right now. I don't feel like I'm at my highest inspiration serving who I should be serving. I feel like my life, I feel like I'm meant to do so much more. That's what you said to me last week. So, what's holding you back? If your mindset formula starts with your self beliefs, then it starts with you. It all starts with you. And the solution is within you as well. I'm going to leave you with that thought this morning. And I'm going to jump over to questions because I see there's been a lot that has come in this morning. But guys, if you're feeling lost, let's solve it. If you're unfulfilled, if you're unhappy, let's break through those barriers and those limiting beliefs. Let's help you get to that point that you can visualize, where you can taste, literally taste the inspiration you seek. It's doable, but you need help along the way. And I'm going to go back to where I started, and then I'll get to the questions, I promise. I believe in you. My job is to help you believe in yourself. Let's go over to the comments. All right. There's so many comments coming in. First of all, let me just express gratitude. I'm a big believer in gratitude, right? It all starts with your self-beliefs. Well, I want to thank everybody who's here this morning. I can see a lot of comments have come in. And look, I know you're watching this video and you're not commenting because you're struggling right now. Some of the folks who are here, I want to go through these comments so that you hear and you can actually write down some of their comments or screenshot them as well. But don't forget that there is a community of professionals we're building here to help you. You just have to raise your hand and say you want to be part of it. Good morning, Landon. Thanks for being here this morning. Chris, this is the Chris Prouty I was talking about. Chris says, let me just make this a little bit larger. I'm not trying to make anybody not be able to see these this morning. So there we go. Let me just make that a little bit larger, put it over to the side. Chris says, truly, fulfillment is something that so many, well, I lost you, Chris. Fulfillment is something that so many people are seeking, yet only a few can grasp. There seems to be a disconnect between what we want, what we do, and what we want. Hey, Chris, you know what that disconnect is? It's us. It's easy to say, I want to go do this. But when I say, why do you want to do it? Dead silent, radio silence. You don't know why. It's easy to say, I want to go, I want that. That's the what. No one wants to do the hard work, Chris, of the who and the why. Who they are and why they're unhappy. Good morning, Judy. Judy, I had a comment for you last night in LinkedIn. I hope you saw it. Eileen says, we sometimes find ourselves in situations where we can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. Boy, that's true. We become bogged down by our problems. We don't know how to move forward. And Eileen, it is the fear of the unknown. As you saw, one of the questions was, I'm scared to make a change. You're unhappy and you're unfulfilled, but you're scared to make the change, because what if you make the change and you're still happy and you're still unfulfilled? Then what do you do? So Eileen, I think that the fear of the unknown is real. I absolutely. The solution is to work through that fear, and you have to do that in those kind of two steps before you, again, it's the who and the why before you get to the what and the how. And Landon is reminding you guys, do not forget, if you're on YouTube, to smash that like button and subscribe. Because guys, we are, I mean, we're changing lives here with these videos. Trust me, I have a full-time job outside of this, but this is my highest inspiration, is to help you in your career to reach a level of success you desire. I've done it in mine, now I'm paying it forward to help you. And that's the highest inspiration of my life. Chris Rivera is here this morning. Chris says, great point, Cicely. Finding out the who is the unseen work that few people talk about and most people take for granted. Chris, and I gotta tell you, soapbox moment here for a second. For those of you who watch these videos, you know I get a little worked up. I've been trying to be a little circumspect this morning, but that Chris always hits the nail on the head. What really, 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 Chris, got me I've been thinking about this topic for months, but it wasn't until the conversation last week where I thought, yeah, I've got to address this, because there's a larger audience really, really struggling with the lack of fulfillment and happiness. But Chris, it wasn't until I started looking into this topic and I was like, what are other people saying? That I really, 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 really got fired up, because no one's talking about the unseen work. Literally every video I went to on YouTube, some dude, I watched a video, I got no idea what he said, and I watched him for 22 minutes. I'm like, I was clueless. I was like, what is he talking about? And then I watched another video of a very famous coach who I'm not going to say, and the answer was, well, the answer for fulfillment is to go serve others. That may or may not be true for some people, but you can't serve others until you serve yourself. And nobody addressed the you part of this equation. No one. I was floored. I literally have all my notes on my iPad. No one addressed the unseen part, which is the work you have to do yourself. So, Chris, I'm worked up about your point this morning, because the fundamental premise, the common denominator in all of this is you. Yet people are automatically saying, well, your fulfillment's over there. Serving others is where you're going to be happy. That may not be true for everybody, because you haven't done the work to figure out the you part yet. Randy says, what are the dangers of not finding fulfillment in one's work? Randy, that's a whole video. That's a topic in and of itself. And let me just, since I'm not, let me just bring this. Hang on, guys. Let me just bring this full screen here, because these topics are important. I want to make sure you can see me this morning. Let me just bring it full screen. Yeah, I know I'm moving my screen. I'm moving my screen right in front of you. That is the beauty of Ecamm, the software that I'm using here. But I want you to be able to see these questions a little more. So let me just expand what I'm doing so that I can expand. There we go. All right. Here we go. All right. Randy, the dangers of not finding fulfillment in one's work. It's the constant state. It's the current state, and I would say constant state of being unhappy. Look, I don't want to wake up miserable every day. Do you? If you're not finding fulfillment in your work, to Randy's point, why not? If you're going through the motions every day at home or at work, you owe it to yourself. You owe it to yourself to do exactly what Randy's saying. That's a dangerous spot to be in, mentally and physically. So if the dangers of not finding fulfillment in one's work is you're stuck and it impacts the other parts of your life, it eats at you until you are miserable and you make everybody around you miserable. And trust me on that one, I've been in a relationship where someone was very unfulfilled in their work and it impacted every single person around them, including me. That's why I'm not in that relationship anymore. Clearly, that was too much information. Hey, Ramona. Good morning, Ramona. I hope you're back from your travels. I think you joined us back in May or early June, so I hope you're back from your travels. Clearly, you get the pain points. Great pro tip to visualize the other side. I got that pro tip from a friend of mine, Chris Prouty, who's on this. He did a live last night, and I thought his pro tip was very powerful. So I wanted to bring it forward this morning because as he was talking last night, I was visualizing what he was talking about, and I thought, wow, that's powerful. That's very powerful. Do you find that people take their job title and mistake it for the who? Chris Rivera, it's like you live rent free in my head. That is 100%, Chris. It's why I think I've mentioned on these calls before, these videos. I start my coaching program. I started in January. Who are you outside of your job? Who? You have to answer the who question is so fundamental. You have to start there before you can do anything else in your life. It's the who question. It's the who question. So, Chris, you hit the nail on the head. And that is hard. I mean, we spent 8 weeks, we spent all of January, all of February, and I still have people that I'm working through that who question with. Yes, the job title to look, we are conditioned. And I know I'm going long, guys. I'm gonna wrap up, I promise. We are conditioned to tie our self-worth to what we do every day. Look, you spend most of your time at work. We all do. We spend more time at work than you do with your families. We're conditioned that our self worth and our value has something to do with our job, and nothing could be further from the truth. Who you are, your self worth, and your value has nothing to do with your title, where you work, or what you do at work. It's all internal to you, which is why, if you want to find fulfillment and happiness, it starts right here. It has to start right here. Lauren says, "Hey, good morning, Lauren. Visualization helps tremendously. Indeed, I could not agree more. Just got back. Okay, great. Well, I'm glad that you're back safely from those travels. I know I owe you coffee when I get back to DC, so I have your number. Rajika, it is so good to see you this morning. Oh, those whispers get loud if you keep ignoring it. That is a perfect, yes, indeed. That is a perfect comment. And they get louder and they get louder till they become the only voice you're hearing. They become the only thing you're hearing. Our society, Rajika says, has conditioned us to think our value equates with our job and our assets. And it's a trap. Rajika, you're spot on. It's a trap. It's a trap. And Chris says, when you're able to do what inspires you the most, fulfillment weaves through all areas of life from business to health to mindset and spirituality. And that is a great point. Fulfillment is one of the highest areas of life. If you're not fulfilled, you're not living your best life. You're not doing what you were meant to do. And if you're a person of faith, that's a whole other conversation for you that you can reach out to me and have. I'm a person of faith. I very much have a belief set that goes along with that. That when you do what you're inspired most, you're doing what you were put on this earth to do. I believe if we had a few more minutes, we've solved the world's problems this morning because these comments are so good. These comments are just that good. Hey, look, I'm going to go back to where I started. You haven't found fulfillment and happiness yet because you're not willing to do the work. And as Rajika just said, as Chris has said, as Ramona has said, as Lauren has said, as Chris has said, Chris Rivera, as Randy has said, as Chris Prouty has said, as Eileen has said, as Judy has said, and I'm going through all the names, and I can see there's so many more of you watching who aren't even in the comments. The common denominator here is you. So I'm going to go back to the definition of fear. You can face everything and run, or you can face everything and rise. The choice is yours.